Hey everybody, Gary from Tremis Dynamics, back again with another YouTube video. Today we're going to talk about rifles, mostly my rifle. I get some questions about what I like in a rifle. I have some pretty strong opinions on it. So rather than repeat it over and over again, I thought, well, let's make a video and try out my new camera. You're going to have to excuse the hat. I need a haircut really bad, so I just figured cover that shit up and let's rock on. So let's talk about this rifle. Colt. I call it a Mark 18. It's kind of a clone of a Mark 18. It's not full auto, so nothing I can do about that. Colt shell, Bravo Company heart, Noveske bullet launcher out the end. We'll take a pretty good look at it here up close. Running an aim point on the top, Surefire on the side. You know, pretty typical fare there. We'll get into the nuts and bolts here and we'll look at it on the table. Heart of it, Bravo Company ion bonded bolt carrier group. In front of that we got a Noveske stainless steel, but it's chrome lined. They did not make a lot of those, and they did not make them for very long. 10.5 inch. Don't worry, the gun is fully SBR'd with the ATF. On front of that we got the fantastic Pws Muzzle Break. It's FSC 556. I know they have a couple newer ones. I'm not sure if they even make that one anymore. Anything from PWS ought to run great. Let's see what else we got going. Daniel Defense Mark 18 rail. The bottom does come off the top if you're interested in that kind of thing. I have nothing to mount to it. I'm not nearly cool enough. Surefire, I think it's like the 951. It's one of the Millennium series. It has been upgraded with a tactical night vision company LED head. I think it's the TX4. It's like 600 lumens for a little over an hour, or maybe it's like 100 minutes. It's running a Haley mount. It keeps it nice and tucked in as close as I can get it to the front sight. Speaking of sights on the front, Lewis Machine and Tool. It's not a flip up. I'm not a big fan of flip up front sights. It has the XS stripe post in it. It also has the small nut mod. For those of you who have dealt with LMT parts, they usually have this giant freaking honking bolt or nut on the side of it. It's been replaced with a regular nut from a hardware store of the stainless steel variety. Continuing with the sights in the back, we have a Knight's Armament 300 meter sight. It has the insert glued in place. I like the small aperture. Aimpoint Pro on the top. It's running the stock mount for now. I'm not decided on whether or not the Aimpoint is going to stay or if I'm going back to an EOTech. I replaced the EOTech XPS2 to put the Aimpoint on. The Aimpoint battery life, the first battery lasted 4 months. They say it lasts years, but that was the first battery through it. The second battery is going about a year strong. Replace it in a couple of months, just to be on the safe side, but it has been. This one's been going for a year. I put a Duracell in it. It's all I use for non-lithium batteries. All alkalines, I use Duracell. I will say this though, compared to the EOTech, the Aimpoint has a larger dot than the center dot of an EOTech, so I found it to be not quite as accurate. The 2 MOA dot in here is also considerably smaller than the 65 MOA ring that's in the EOTech, so I found it to be slower at close ranges. The battery life, obviously, at 4 months is still better than the EOTech, and this one obviously seems to be running longer, so it definitely has battery life, and they say they're more durable, but my EOTech XPS2 I never had a problem with, and it got beat up pretty hard because I break everything I own. It's still being tested at this point is what I'm calling it. If I decide to keep it, I may find a better mount. I just have to find a mount that meets what exactly I'm looking for. I ditched the lens caps off of that and that kind of garbage. I also have a Magpul, I think it's called the RSA quick release sling mount. I don't really run 2-point much, but once in a while when you're trying to climb over stuff or you got to walk a really long ways, having a single point and it bouncing and hit you in the knees is not fun, so I can clip it over to a 2-point and snug it up so that it rests tight against my chest. Let's see. I think that's everything on the front. Or on the top. On the bottom half of the gun, all the small parts, pins, springs, detents, all Colt. They do have some no-name ambidextrous safety on it, maybe DPMS, I don't know. Trigger is a Geisley SSAE. It really was just treating myself to that. I had once run a McCormick single stage trigger. I think the McCormick is a little lighter, a little crisper, but they have a habit for going full auto from what everyone says, although mine had about 8,000 rounds through it without a problem. And just on a whim I decided to try out the Geisley. It is a fantastic trigger, and the reliability is supposed to be the same as a mil-spec trigger. So I put the McCormick in a different lower and running the Geisley, and I've been plenty happy with it. Have a Ready Mag on here. It is I think it's the second generation one, where the lever releases it, as opposed to when you hit the mag release, both magazines drop. I did cut it down at an angle so that it's easier to put a magazine in there, a little easier to see what's going on. It doesn't obstruct the other mag well as much when you're looking from the shooter's perspective. I did it with a grinding wheel, and it took me about 3 minutes. Towards the back end, we got a 5-position buffer tube that I bought from Magpul. I have no idea who makes stuff for Magpul, so you'd have to ask one of those guys there, Rich or Drake or any of them guys who makes it for them. But I bought it from them. I have a chrome silicone spring in it, H2 buffer. Also have a Magpul CTR stock. The paracord does absolutely nothing on the stock. I just thought it looked cool and I was bored. Other Magpul goodies on here. Mochi Grip. The grip angle's nice. It's nice and small. Matches the Mo grip up front. Also got the Mo trigger guard. Makes for a nice comfortable matchup where the grip meets the frame, meets the trigger guard. There's no sharp edges or anything like that. I did stipple the shit out of both of them. They come pretty smooth, and I like grippy. If you saw my everyday carry video with my pistol, I just stippled the shit out of that grip as well. Also on here, I have a Magpul Bad Lever. I don't use it for reloads. I took a rifle class once where I had 1 million Type 3 malfunctions, and the Bad Lever helps facilitate clearing a Type 3 because you can lock the bolt back without changing hands around to run the charging handle and all that shit. I must say, on this particular upper, I've never had to use the Bad Lever, so maybe it's just taking up space. Either way, it's only a couple ounces on the gun. Last thing on that lower is the Magpul ASAP ambidextrous sling plate. I'm a big fan of shooting lefty as much as righty, and that sling plate obviously facilitates left-hand, right-hand shooting without having to move your sling around. Obviously, I'm a Magpul junkie. Everything Magpul I can have on there, except for their sights, is on there. Nothing but Magpul P-Mags with the original Magpuls on the bottom. Load those with Hornaday tap for my go-to-war rig, or whatever you want to call it. Home defense. Shit hits the fan, but that's really expensive, and for just target practice and doing some training, I'll fill it with whatever I can find. PMC, Federal, Winchester, just no wolf shit. Russian ammo, Russian guns. Last thing to look at this is a sling. Blue Force Gear padded Vickers sling. Gun weighs right at 9 pounds, so the padded sling's a godsend. Got the HK hook clipped into the back. They got this little doohickey here. I think Impact Weapons makes it. I think that's their logo. I think they make the Haley stuff. It's for attaching a quick release sling attachment to, and I keep it that way as a 1-point, except when I want to go to 2-point, and I use the Blue Force Gear red. I think it's the red swivel. As opposed to pushing the button in and then pulling it out, you just pull the knob and it comes out. A little harder to get back in place, but much easier to get out of. Of course, it comes in the cool multicam. Guns painted up camouflage as well. Hey, that sums up my rifle. Got any questions about it? Put a comment down here. I'll answer it as soon as I can. In the meantime, you guys have a great holiday season, and I'll see you out in the range. Isn't my beard so fucking lovely? Lovely beard.